Welcome to the. So this is one of the series that we're gonna be doing on how can we keep the youth in the church, and so I have Brother Dorian here, and we're gonna be talking about it. We're gonna be posting. I'm gonna be posting the series once a week, so make sure to check it out. So today we're gonna be talking. The question of today is gonna be why youth leave the church, and could there be lacking of the could there be a lack of interest in the church or in the Lord, and why most of the youth are not pursuing a life with Christ Himself. So thank you, Brother Ren, for coming, and then so you're gonna be trying to explain a little bit about it.
So, why the youth leave the church? It's a very good question. I think it's very actual. Like we can see around things happening, and in my understanding, when you look, I think there are different factors, and there are different issues why the youth would leave the church. But in this context, I'd like to mention a few, and how I see what can be one of these factors. One of them would be church involvement. When I say church involvement, when you are needed somewhere, when you are enjoying, if you are part of a different program or ministry or responsibility, then you want to go. You want to be part of that group or community, right? And this is how I see. For instance, if the youth is not involved in the church life, in the church activities, programs, if they are not delegated certain responsibilities, then obviously they will feel that they are not needed there, that they can go somewhere else, spend time with their friends, and schoolmates and buddies. So I would say one of the reasons they would leave would be that there is a lack of connection or friendship in between the church leadership maybe and the church programs as well. So this would be one factor. The other one I'd like to mention is busy parents. Especially for teenagers, this is a critical age, and usually parents, they have to pay their bills and take care of the family and work hard, and many times they do not have enough time to spend with their children. Yeah, especially with the teenagers, and this makes, once they don't have time, they don't have time for prayer, they don't have time for study, for praising God, for taking them to different conferences and youth meetings, and this takes from that relationship as well. So once you don't dedicate enough time, to be enough involved in the church life, I would say that this would play a role as well in why some of the youth, they decide to go and find happiness and spend time somewhere else instead being in the church. And one more factor, as I see, it's the school factor, because when a young person goes to school, you are influenced by your schoolmates, by the environment, by society. So once you are in that society and environment, then you can be influenced for good or for bad. You can have a positive experience, but if your bodies are doing certain things which are not very good, then the youth can be influenced as well, and instead of following something which is right, you might choose something else. So I see this as one of the factors. There are more, and maybe in the future series we can discuss them, but that's for now.
So today I actually wrote some of the points that I thought they were actually from the church, the keeps the kids from coming to the church, right? Which was limitation. So limitation that they project on themselves to think that they cannot do anything in the church, right? So limitation that they project on themselves. And another thing is other people opinion and judgments. When people look at certain young people, or the way they dress, the way they talk, and they say, you know what, this kid, he's a lost cause in some ways, they say. And also another one is relationship. As a relationship, I mean by having a relationship with the people in church, to have a pastor who's gonna be coming to you to give you a Bible study, to go outside, to talk with you. You know, you feel more that you can open to this person, and then that creates a relationship between you, the pastor, and the youth. So that way the youth is able to tell you what his state of spiritual life, where it is and where it's going. And from there, I think you can be able to help this kid, or you can understand what he needs, right?
That's right.
So yeah. So what do you think on other people's opinion and judgments on people, on young people especially?
When you join a church, or when you go to church, definitely people will judge, and people will have their own conception about you, right? But when it comes to church involvement and being part of a church or a community, if you find that this is the truth, in spite of all of that judgment and criticism, you want to follow the truth. You don't want to follow majority or the crowd. You want to follow God, right? So you will not, in regardless what they might think of you, you want to follow. But as a link to this relationship, as you stated earlier, is a good relationship with the church leadership. It's not just coming once on the weekend, or once on Sabbath and say just hello, It's more than that, It's taking the youth, going for a walk, spending time, bringing them to a point to create a relationship that they can open up and discuss with you, ask questions, This would be a different level of relationship. Would not be just something only formal, would go beyond that, and it would open many windows to a great relationship. And this, I believe, will influence, for instance, even a simple thing by shaking hands on Sabbath, and by saying few words, this can influence a young person. Or I can give another example. If a young person was involved giving a presentation or a Bible study, or doing part of a young people's meeting, and you just wrote a nice quote, you just said, well, it was a good job, to encourage. I believe that these little things can help some young people to stay close to the Lord and stay in God's church as well.
Yeah, I truly believe the same. Again, we're gonna cover more of these in the next series. We're gonna try to keep them shorter. That way, we can make more, so they could be able to visit more. So thank you for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please make sure to comment down below. We're gonna be posting this series once a week, and please comment what do you think. What do you think we should be talking about in the next series? And maybe we're gonna be talking about your subject. Who knows?